like I went out to the junior high, and it's got a quarter-mile track. And so I was by myself, and I just took it out, put it together, and went down and ran, and that was my first half mile.
Hi, I'm Dave Vidmar, and welcome to this section of the video where we teach the trainer how to train. I will pretend to be the trainer, and I'm going to use a friend here, Walt, as a new client, and we'll just sort of see what it's like to set up a new client. And I'll teach you some of the things that I've learned to say to beginners so that they can have a good first experience. Well, hi, Walt. How are you?
I'm doing just fine today,
nice
Dave.
To meet you.
Thank you.
May I get you to stand over to this side of the Glidecycle for a minute? Now, the Glidecycle is kind of set up. We've got the holes, you know, the pins in the right setup in both sides. And we did that before Walt came because we're trainers and we basically know how to set up a Glidecycle. So we're not going to train Walt how to set his up. I'm going to train you how to train Walt on his first ride. So as you see, we've got the seat strap a little bit low, so that we're going to make it nice and easy for the client to get into his Glidecycle the first time. We're not even going to teach him the normal technique of putting his hand up above and putting his hand over here and bringing the Glidecycle to the side so he can step over. Generally, with a brand new client, after sizing up the seat, which I think is about right for Walt, it might be one notch too tight, we'll see. I'll just come over here with Walt and say, here you go, Walt, step over. Now when I bring this up on you, Walt, bring your pants down. That's right. Do you have anything in your pockets there?
Yes.
Okay, if you can't get that over, there you go. And as I bring the Glidecycle up to the client, I ask him to sit down and wiggle and try to get himself down into the seat. And very quickly I'll take an assessment on the side of Walt to see if this is too far down on his thigh and it's going to impinge his thigh and not up really close the IC or iliac crest. And it looks a little tighter than it could be. Tighter in the beginning is better than looser, so let's let it go until we see what happens. Okay. Can you stand up? Well, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and bring this back a little bit because I noticed Walt was a little far forward in the envelope. And then I'm also going to ask Walt now to bring his feet. Walt, bring your feet together and stand up on your toes, please. Cool. And you're gonna, there you go. Now I'm using this to set up your knee height, and I will use this to set the bar slightly forward or vertical for Walt. And Walt's looking pretty good in the seat and saddle assembly. He's got a nice little knee bend. He's not too deep in the knees, and he's not standing on his toes. That feels good. Now I'll say to Walt something like, Walt, I don't want you to worry too much about how the seat feels today because like a horse saddle or anything else, your body's going to take a few days.
I have no idea what it's supposed to feel like at this point. Really,
absolutely. So if you feel a little bit of discomfort or pressure on your stomach or something like that, or gee, I feel like I'm falling off the seat, remember a Glidecycle seat is really different. It's like falling into a funnel. This experience is new for your body, but you're trading the pain you usually have in your feet and your legs and your ankle for a little bit of pressure on your midsection as your pelvis is raised up and your body weight is transferred to the spring arch suspension system, allowing you the sensation of unweighted training. Your pelvis is the core around which all ambulation can occur, but it doesn't have anything to do with your walking. You can run and you can walk with your pelvis suspended and feel no effects on that. So that's pretty cool. Well, so as you think about what the seat feels like, I want you to shift your concentration to where you're headed and think about what you're doing. You're going to move through space, you're going to experience proprioception, this really cool thing that happens in the human mind as things whiz by and feet move and traffic occurs. It really helps your brain re-engage in the world. And that proprioception is what we're after here. It's something you can't get on a treadmill staring at a wall.
That's true. Yes.
Okay, so some of the things beginners will experience, Walt may have his arms way up here, and he'll experience as a result a lot of pressure into his shoulders, and his arms will feel tight and they'll hurt. So we always say to clients, well, what I'd like you to do is to bend your elbows and point your elbows down toward the ground, and this will allow your arms to simply respond to the Glidecycle's unique front end, which is sort of wiggly. It's designed to be wiggly in the beginning. That helps you simulate a natural running motion, which translates when you get off the bicycle into the human functional movement of rotating your hips and moving your arms back and forth as you walk and you run. If we designed it real tight, you would be walking and running like this, and nobody walks around like this except kangaroos. So now that Walt's got his elbows down and relaxed, I tell him, relax your back and keep your eyes looking forward. Bring your knees together, your legs in a natural walking motion. Keep your weight into the seat. One of the biggest problems beginners have, and you may see it with Walt as he turns a corner, if not I'll re-illustrate it myself, your clients will stand back up and carry their weight into their body on their legs, and that's very normal. It's very abnormal to expect a machine to carry your weight while you're moving. Some clients have a real hard time with that, and you need to just be patient with them. One of the things that I do, and I'll do it with Walt now, is I'll say, if I can sense that they're really not taking the Glidecycle saddle, I'll say, Walt, I'm going to hold the bike real stiff, and I'd like you to put your feet up on the walking pedals. Great. This is what you're going to look like when you're going down a real steep hill. I'll tell them to distract them, but what I'm really doing is trying to get them to stay in the seat. Okay? Now, I want you to experience what that feels like when you're sitting all the way in the seat. So, one of the things that we can do as a second motion, I'll go ahead and run him, but if he gets out of the seat a lot, I'm going to make him put one foot up there and run like an amputee, and that'll keep him in the chair, because nobody can get out of the chair with one foot up in the air. But Walt is a normal client, so I'm going to go ahead and just run him. Again, keep your elbows pointed down, take off the parking brakes, and imagine pulling yourself across the room on a computer chair. Again, I'll push the client along in the beginning. Don't land on your heels, but on the flats of your feet. Now you'll see Walt has a typical beginning motion. There's a lot of pressure coming, or a lot of power going into the Glidecycle from his knee down. His thigh isn't working as hard as it can. His hip flexor is not extending. That's very normal for most people. So Walt, throw your thigh into this a little bit. Bring that thigh back. Now watch the difference in power that will occur as he brings more of his leg into it. Pull your legs together a little bit more. Now see his hip flexor, his thigh is moving back toward the back more. That's going to bring a lot more power into his ride. Of course, anything he wants to do is totally normal. And Walt's learning how to ride a Glidecycle very fast compared to some people. Don't let a client hit his heels on the ground, because that causes micro shocks to the knees. They want to land on the flat of their feet. Sometimes you get clients that stand on their toes. You just yell to them, hey, land on the flat part of your feet. Okay, that's probably good enough.